All right. Did I mention I like wildlife? How about a lizard? Let's get that on the board. Slatey, slate, slate, slate. Hi everybody, it's Matt. This is the third installation of the video series that's a companion to season 4 of 1 Minute Governance, the 1 Minute Governance podcast, that is. And for those of you who don't know, my preferred definition of good corporate governance is intentionally cultivating effective conditions for making decisions. And this season of 1 Minute Governance is all about conditions. What are they and how can we be intentional about them? So this video is kind of a companion to episodes 154 and 155 of 1 Minute Governance, which are about information scheduling and information content, respectively. And I'm mostly in the episodes zeroed in on the pre-work of a board, and that's mostly because the preparation of the materials for pre-work and the impact that they have in the boardroom is so important, and the preparation is so labor intensive, so it seemed like a pretty good place to focus. So let me give you a little bit of really simple advice. If you don't do this already, start asking yourself, why do we do it this way? And by it, I mean everything. Why do we include this report in the pre-work? Why do we articulate the report the way that we do? Why does the report have the information that it does? Why do we send the report when we do? And if we go back to previous episodes, we can think about medium and ask, why isn't this a video? Why isn't it a podcast or audio or a drawing or a chart or an illustration, whatever? And you don't have to throw away everything. I'm not trying to encourage you to change all your stuff. What I'm encouraging you to do is to start being intentional about it and not just about what's in it and how do we make it similar to last time and familiar for the directors. Because the reality is, it's likely that the way that you create the content and the content that you include is in some ways either causing unnecessary work for especially senior management, or maybe even working against the board's and directors' ability to understand and engage in the conversations that you want to have. Information isn't just about pre-work. It's also about the presentations that you do at meetings. It's also about the conversations that you have. It's also about the way that you prompt those conversations. Really, it's about any way that we're interacting with the other people in the boardroom. Let's just focus on the presentation for a second. What exactly is a presentation? Let's say you've got something coming up at the next meeting. What exactly is this presentation for? What's the objective? Is it purely informational? How can we craft the content so that it's as clear and concise as possible and design it so that it's enhancing or building on the pre-work instead of just rehashing it? And if it turns out it is just rehashing it, ask yourself the question, can we maybe scrap it and not do this presentation? If the presentation is intended, for example, to provoke conversation, what are some of the things that we can do to set up the conversation well? Have we crafted the content in a way that's intended and designed to create conversation, especially a type of conversation that we really want to have? I also wanted to talk about timing. I kind of feel like timing is one of those conditions where we just sort of set it and forget it. It's really tempting, for example, to say, well, the board packet goes out a week before the board meeting, instead of thinking, okay, what can I do to create a cadence of information flow and timing that's, first of all, a little bit less of a burden on the people creating it, but also has a potential to engage the audience. What if we told a part of the story in week 1 and then built on it a little bit the next week? And then as new information comes in, or as they ask or answer questions, having seen the stuff that you sent them last week, maybe you can use that to influence what comes out the next week. I know this feels difficult. I know it feels dynamic, and I'm not trying to say do this for every little bit of information, but you can use the timing of information as a way to keep people's attention, as a way to keep the communication moving in between meetings, and as a way to gain information that you wouldn't otherwise get if you just sort of dump a pile of information 1 week in advance and hope that that's going to engage people. All I'm saying, again, intentionally cultivate effective conditions. Ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish? And see if there's a way to think about the content and the timing in a way that's going to serve the conversations you want to have and make sure that it's not too much of a burden for management, and try to engage your directors at a new level. By the way, and let's put something else on the board. Let's do a snake. I have 2 pet snakes, by the way. They're very handsome. Oh yeah, the latest playlist is also important. Believe it or not, I'm sure you believe it. It's not too much of a stretch of the imagination, but I've tried to craft a playlist of songs that are kind of about timing and about the content of stuff. I don't know if I hit the nail on the head, but let me know. And if you've got songs that you like that are about timing or the content of things, shoot them my way. This could be a really interesting kind of bizarre playlist if we do it right. And in the meantime, if there's anything that's on your mind, or if there's anything that I've been talking about that is either resonating with you or you're not buying, start a conversation. Send me an email, matt@boardeffectiveness.ca. I'm always interested in chatting, and maybe we can even review some of the stuff that you want to talk about in one of the future videos. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Anything else I want to put on the board? There's this bird. It looks kind of Twittery though. Is Twitter too provocative now? There's a bird.